The 2015 Polyglot Gathering is brought to you by italki. Become fluent in any language.
Hey everyone, I'm just going to introduce Zach for you real quick. I was in touch with him several years ago.
Yes.
He told me he was trying to grow this app, and we talked about it at the time, and a very interesting idea. And since then, he's grown it to 1 million users all around the world. So these are people which I think is very interesting for a crowd here, because the vast majority of the users are in Asia and South America. So there's a lot of potential for Europeans to use it to learn these languages, and all of those people are thirsty to learn our languages. So it's a fantastic app. It's like almost having a WhatsApp in your pocket, similar but specifically for language learning. So you send messages, you can get transliteration, you can get all of the various different extra features and emoticons and all that fun stuff. So you get to chat and you get to search for new people in the target language and have free exchanges. So it is the best app I've come across by far, one of the best tools for language exchanges. So Zach's going to tell us a little bit about that.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Today I think I'm just going to introduce myself first and talk a little bit about how I learn languages, and then my experience with HelloTalk, which is like a startup for making language learning and exchange app. First, a little about myself. I was born in China and I grew up in Hong Kong. I went to the US for my studies. So growing up, I speak Mandarin and Cantonese because I live in English, and I have been always very interested in Japanese because I grew up in Hong Kong, which is under heavy influence of Japanese anime, drama, music in the 90s, basically. And I'm actually learning Spanish now, and I'm founder of the HelloTalk app. I myself personally actually want to go to offline class, because I think that's really keep the discipline to learn the grammar, the hard things about a language. Without going to an offline or online class, I find it difficult for myself to maintain. And my interest is actually to make friends. So whenever I just don't learn a language by reading books of grammar, I always try to find friends. I was actually working in Beijing at that time, and I already made a decision. That was year 2004. I made the decision to quit the job and to go to Korea for 1 year to study. I was actually 30 years old at that time. So I went to this university in Beijing where there were some Korean students. I put up the poster saying I'm looking for language exchange partner and friends. And 4 Korean students, female or actually from Korea, learning Chinese, they contacted me. I meet them, talk to them, we have meals together. That's how I learn language, because I think it gives me a chance to actually practice. What that I think is really important is to practice and talk. And then I do myself is whenever I try to learn a language, I always try to visit the country for travel, and I think it's especially important to take a short-term language class there. So I took a 2-week short-term language class in Korea in a women's university called Ewon before I went to Beijing. And that got me interested and motivated because I made a decision to come back for 1 year. So I think it's always to keep the motivation up. It's like I'm going there next year for 2 weeks, 10 days. I might be studying there. And myself actually try to find an activity that I can keep doing without feeling I'm studying and learning a language. That's how I did that. Is I actually watch movies, DVD movies in the subtitle of the language I'm learning. So that was year 2006. I arrived in Korea. After 3 months, I can speak the basics, but there is in the summer there's 1 month break of our classes. So what I did is I watched 2 to 3 DVD movies every day in Korean subtitles. And I keep doing that. So by the end of that month, I watched 100 movies actually. And in the evening and dinner, I go out to meet my friends and talk. But the daytime, I just watch movies, and I meet my friends and watch movies for 1 month. And I have a Korean woman, actually, she helped me with language in like a language cafe in Korea at that time. So whatever I don't know, when I'm watching a movie, I don't take any notes. I just try to see what the word is. I look at the electronic dictionary, and once I understand it, I let it go. I just let it go. I don't take any notes. Because when I speak to someone, I don't actually look notes. It has to come up from the brain. I just getting myself exposure. I find that really useful is to watch. If you like listening to the music or do something that I never feel I'm studying. I try myself. Well, I'm pretty old, so I'm like 41 years old. So in the old days, actually, you use a website called My Language Exchange. You can still find my profile there. They have more than 1 million profiles, but you have to pay for their service to get contact, and that I use that. And I try to have pen pal write emails. I now have a pen pal. Her name is Elizabeth. She's in Barcelona. I'm learning Spanish. So we write emails to each other. I tried Skype. Skype, when it was coming out in year 2005 and 6, I realized at that time that we can use Skype to learn and practice and actually teach English. That was right around the time I was living in Beijing, ready to move to Korea for 1 year. I actually thought about that. I'm going to come back to Beijing and start a business through Skype teaching people Mandarin. That was year 2005. And I have a lot of difficulty in looking for language partners through this method, because usually you get in touch, Skype, you send a message, then it just dies down. Then it goes nowhere. So the idea is actually trying to build an app to connect language learners worldwide. Actually, I'm just trying to solve my own problem, which is I couldn't find a Japanese language partner in Shenzhen. There may be a lot of them in Hong Kong or Shanghai, but in Shenzhen you couldn't find any Japanese living there. So there was actually, but the idea was put into practice in year 2011. I finished my study learning 1 year in Korea in year 2006. I went back to China. I have actually 2 startup experience. One was selling electronic accessories, mobile phone cases over eBay. That was actually a successful startup. I grew the company from just myself with some partners in the US, but I myself in China. In year 2007 and up to year 2009, we have 200 people. And later, I sold my shares to my partners, and then I decided to do a start on China e-commerce. The China e-commerce market was really hot and big in year 2009, but that wasn't really successful. I mean, I did too much. There are a lot of startup experience, but it was pretty much not successful. And in year 2011, I decided to close the company. So we have 40 people at that time. I just closed it, folded, and I took 2 developers who did web development and said, let's make an app, mobile app for language exchange. So we started, we are happy, we feel like we're going to be successful, but the reality of running a startup is after 1 year, I couldn't really see a screen, a demo, a screen, with anything working. So there's no demo. I asked him 6 months later, do we have something? No. After 1 year, do we have anything? No. So there's, I see a screen, there's no profile picture, no nothing, and you couldn't click on it. So in the end, we find out there are 3 of us, me and 2 developers. We were trying to build an airplane where we haven't really built a bicycle because we have no experience in this area. And after 1 year and 3 months, the 2 developers, they actually live in a 2-bedroom apartment. They live and work there. I live close by. And they work 15 hours a day, almost. And after 1 year of just coding and couldn't come up with anything, the lead developer said he's going to quit, he's not going to do it. He couldn't stand it anymore, and he had too much pressure. So I tried to persuade him, but he made up his mind. And the second developer, who is a buddy of the lead developer, he didn't tell me at that time, but he actually thought about, he made his mind to quit already after we launched the app. So I took him to a foot massage and tried to convince him, don't do this, so it's successful, maybe I should take him to some other kind of massage. So he told me over the foot massage day, after Chinese Lunar New Year, he's going to quit. Okay, the third developer, which is an intern we just hired not too long ago, he's just waiting to be fired, I think. He didn't know, but if the two of them quit, the project is done. What's done? I mean, it will be over, basically. So in the end, I didn't really know how, but we managed to launch the app in record-breaking time. That is record-breaking long time for a mobile app. It's really, I mean, I can tell you today, no apps probably can break our record. It's 1 year and 9 months. 1 year and 9 months, you launch an app. And because in the internet, people always say the mobile internet industry, 1 year there is 10 years in the internet, the web. Everyone is saying, well, 3 months you launch an app, 6 months you have 1 million users, 1 year you become rich and famous, all this. For us. But there's one good thing I think about us, that we were like turtle in this rocket like industry, like people are taking the rocket. The good thing about us is actually we were trying to do something original. The idea is original, nobody is really looking at doing that. And we don't have like people doing that and competition. So if we see something the same came up, I think we will be just fair and we will get it. But we did it because nobody is having this idea or they are having the same difficulty that we have. And after it was launched, in like 10 days, suddenly the download and registration is 100 every day, like 100, 10, 15, it's like that. But suddenly one day I was talking to my friend having dinner, and I saw like a huge spike in terms of registration. And I don't know why we're seeing a lot of like registration from Arabic native speakers, which I have no idea why. And I go out to search. I don't know the reason, but our server was overloaded. We have all kinds of problems, and I actually never knew the reason why we were popular. When we first launched, we don't have translation function. It's just an app. You say what language you want to learn and teach, and then you find someone. You match. After 1.5 years later, I asked some users, and they sent me a link of the article. That was around year 2012, December 20th. There's a blog. Arabic site, they recommend 5 apps, all in Arabic. One of them is like Quran, Bible for Islam. And then there are 5 apps. I don't know what they were recommending, but we were there. Maybe they don't have an instant messaging, I don't know. But they were there, and we have actually, I look at the data, that we have 2 users learning Arabic. And we have like 10,000 users native Arabic speakers. And I look at the friend and requests of those 2 users. They're not online. They were not online. I know why. They couldn't open their app. They have like 2,000 requests. Literally, they couldn't open them. And and we were on this like head-to-head with this Quran app. I think maybe it just came out also at the same time. They were number 1 in education. I don't know why they are in education category. We were in education category. They were number 1 here. We are number 1 in Saudi Arabia. They were number 1 in Egypt. We are head to head in different markets. So next. But I mean, also we were happy for a while. But then the reality kicks in again. Because there's issues, problems. Because there's no users there, they don't use it. And then there's the problem with like balance. There's distance and time zone. So someone is in Asia talking to Americans, they just got up and then they're going to sleep and things like that. There's imbalance of users because everybody, 70% of all these countries people try to learn English actually. Primarily we have our own data. And in China you have like 1.4 billion people. So they all try to learn English. So it's like maybe you have like 500,000 people trying to learn Chinese. So it has this issue. And then this is actually a quote from a user. they try to talk to each other. They say, well, the conversation sometimes doesn't go anywhere. It's shallow. I say, hi, I'm where I live all the time. They don't bloody read my profile. So they try to put it in the profile, and this and that, people don't read it. I mean, they have all these kind of problem. And the biggest problem in the end, what we find out is this. What if they are not, I can't read it. What if they are not language learners using the app? We hear or assume because we learn language. But what if they're not? They're just looking for random talk, sex talk, video talk, they're just bored, And I actually heard from a user in Korea. This guy find, this app is all Korean women user here, they're pretty, they respond, they actually respond, unlike using like Zoox or the you have to pay and stuff, these people respond to you. And they say, this is the perfect one for hooking up with girls, And he went on and talked to his friends and said, wow, you have to use it, it's word of mouth, like this. So, this is a use of putting this on Tumblr just in April. So this is her reaction. When a woman wants to be my language partner, she feels happy like this. Dancing is a GIF dancing actually. But when a man, when a man wants to be like her partner, she's like this and she wrote here. With women, I'm like, new friend. With men, I'm like, oh, please be normal. Don't try to hit on me every time I'm trying to practice my Korean. So this is the problem that we have. And when I made the slide, this is my first public speech actually in my life. I'm trying to make this slide over the last 2 days, so I'm thinking, okay, this is a problem. Try to search sex in the profile description. I have my back end, so I searched because I was trying to find one profile that I remember vividly, the last one. But I found 3 profiles, which is like non-typical, which we can show. The first one is Jojo from the US. You can look at his profile. So he's honey, looking for a sexy girl. And he said, well, I think the last one is pretty good. Please teach me Korean. And he's not that bad because he's just, number 3, because at least he's trying to learn a language. And the second one is a Japanese boy. His description is like, I am a virgin boy. If you see this emoticon, he is very sad about this. 19 years old, I want to have sex. Aha. Come girl can sex. He's always Japanese. And the last one, which is, first you need to look at his user ID, which is sex_xxx. That's his ID. And his profile description, wow, I think he's gifted and talented. I am strong and energetic boy of 21 years. I'm in Nagoya, Japan. I'm searching for a hot girl who want to visit together, teach each other, and want to sex. I am strongly forward. I think he means he look forward to sex activities. And I'm so sexy, I need the sex every day. But still, I didn't meet anyone in Nagoya Prefecture. Anyone here want to sex with me? Let's chat. With me, I'm ready to live chat. Everything will be secret. Actually, I have a personal experience myself. Not myself, my wife. Also, she was using our app. And then there's one day she showed me a message. She said, hey, this is a Japanese boy trying to talk to me. So I look at the message. The message was, hey, can I show my private part? So that was his message. So I said, wow, he didn't know. He is sending a message to the founder, to his wife, his account will be deleted immediately. So I told my wife, so I actually took the phone and said, no, you cannot send it. Go. And then, the funny thing about Japanese is about app and language is actually you tell their habit. The characteristic, typical, well, no offense to Japanese, but they're very polite. 2 hours later, he came back with a message. He asked, may I? may I send my private part? He asked, yeah, he did send it, actually. He was asking for permission to send. Whereas a lot of other users, they came out and they just sent. They just sent photos. But in our app, we couldn't do that. We put a lot of different measures to make sure actually they no longer can do that, and there's a lot of restrictions. Well, it's like you cannot, I mean, if it goes on later, I cannot sleep at night because I never know what is going to happen. In our app, we have now automatic system, like if you don't reply to certain one app, like if I don't reply to you 5 messages, you cannot send me images, you can just send me website link. And the bad thing about the bad user is really, there's one user, I found he sent a message to 10,000, like 1,000 people. So it appears in our app, there's one bad user, but to our users, it's like you have 1,000 bad users who are crazy. So we have measures now, you can only contact 20 people on a day, and if you got reported by other people, you are locked automatically your account. You can't send message, you can't send images. So the system put in a lot of measures. So I actually can sleep at night now, not to came up and say the next day what is going to happen to our African community. So the bad things are there, but the good things that's going to happen, that's when language and culture exchange will come. This is a picture sent by a Japanese HelloTalk user to someone learning Japanese over the app. So they sent this message, and then the user learning Japanese, he saw, oh, you did have this shrine. It's called Itsukushima Shrine in Japan. And then there's this water, so he asked. He didn't understand, so he asked. He posted this question on Reddit. So I need help understanding a message from a HelloTalk partner. So he said, oh, on HelloTalk, I'm talking to this partner, we are talking. This morning he sent me pictures of Utsushima Shrine and he asked why. There's water there. So the Japanese user responded in Japanese, which is, 潮の満ち引きで水がなくなる時もあります. So he Google Translate. And then HelloTalk Translate, he finds it's the same. We use Google Translate because it says sometimes the water is lost in the Shino road to play. He didn't understand, so he posted here, he asked. And actually the answer is the water retreats, the tide retreats, and the row appears, so people can go there, take pictures, and and play. So this is actually, this kind of thing is only through people. It's culture, it's image. It's something that you cannot learn from a textbook. Next. And then we have the Belgium grandpa who teaches 16 Chinese Dutch language. I read it through it. And basically, this Chinese user put it on Weibo, which is the Twitter of China. So he say, well, he met this Belgian grandpa who knows about China and trying to teach them Dutch. And then he screen captured his conversation, maybe just 5 minutes. But I roughly, he taught me everything about Belgium, the language, the history a little bit. So my country has 3 national languages. North part, 6 million people speaking Dutch. South part, 5 million people speaking French. And in the east, 250,000 speaking German. Belgium, the reason is history. Belgium is a young country for centuries. It was the battlefield of Europe. It's not big, 30,000 square kilometers, and the population is less than Beijing. So he probably went to Beijing or China before. So the HelloTalk Chinese young kid, so I'm searching the net, the center of Europe. So because the grandma say, I don't think you are interested in learning the history, but obviously the Chinese will say, you just got me interested to know more about your country. So he was searching. So he went on to talk, the grandma went on to talk about, well, we were occupied by the Roman, the French, the Spanish, the Germans, the Dutch, and the Dutch became independent in AD 30. But he went on to say during the World War I, the Germans occupation, they need copper to make ammunition. I don't know whether it's true, but he said, so they took all the copper from the breweries, so that's the reason why there's only 150 breweries in Belgium. Now, well, I don't know whether it's true. It's true, I guess. Okay. So he said, I know about Chinese beer, not much choice, just Qingdao and maybe a couple more, which is true. Then he went on to talk about Netherlands, the language, and then, Belgian beer, world famous. We have a lot of breweries and produce over 700 different kinds of beers. I actually am in China, Hong Kong all the time. Sometimes, yeah, I heard about Belgian beer, but I didn't know the reason. Now I knew about it. And here is a Chinese user getting a package from his language partner in Korea. So we see this package, and he opens it. Inside there is this, I don't know whether someone learns Korean here. There's the tteokbokki, which is the Korean duck rice. There's this kim, which is seaweed, and there's like candy and stuff like that. This happen usually. I think this happen actually quite often when someone find a very good language partner and become friends on HelloTalk. They usually do this to show appreciation of someone who helped them learn the language. I have find someone, a Colombian girl, she's helping me a lot, and I actually don't have an address. Trying to how can I find you? How can I send a gift to her? That's when that happens. Is usually they will send a gift to each other, and we have a lot of users actually asking us, can I know the birthday of my language partner? We don't have this function, but they was trying to send them birthday gift for the appreciation of the help they got. Next, this is a Chinese a user in the middle. And he's meeting two partners, friends. He met, he got to know over HelloTalk. And this is in Heilongjiang, which is sort of like the Siberia of China, And he took some photos, which is the smile. I mean, they are all men. I find it strange because language partner usually men don't talk to men actually. It is normal, but they are happy. I think it's nice. The idea and this actually what we want to do for HelloTalk or our app is actually to encourage people to go, not use the app, and go meet offline. The original idea is actually you find someone, you talk a little bit, and then you meet them locally. Because that I got help from a Korean woman in a language cafe. She met me once a week, 1.5 hours. She was a volunteer, so she just talked to me in Korean. For 1 year, I was talking with her all the time. And the topic ranging from how she got a baby and all that stuff. I'm the same age with her. So the idea is we want to encourage people to meet and talk and not just study the textbook, but actually to go out and make friends. Here is the Japanese. The screen shows a Japanese correcting a Chinese user of a grammar mistake using our grammar correction tool. And the Japanese user say, this is the first time she used this tool, and the Chinese user who put on the tweet here, she actually was mentioning something else. She got a call from an American. We have a voice over IP call function, and the American user was a little bit sad, I think, because she said she tried to call a Chinese girl over the HelloTalk, and that Chinese girl I think got really worried or scared or couldn't know how to speak English suddenly. So in the end, she just said one thing: you are the first one I talked to. I think she hung up or something like that. And this guy was kind of sad, so she talked to this other user, and she took his call and talked a little bit while. And then the American user said, "Well, you changed my mind about Chinese girls. They're not necessarily all shy. They can be have the courage to talk and speak in English." And here we have a Japanese woman. She's exchanging with a Thai. So she was just saying, HelloTalk the Thai no koto oe kakide bunka. So this word means cultural exchange, bunka kori. And she is using our do draw function. Next. So she's trying to explain sushi, and she drew it pretty well, and the pork chop, tonkatsu, and with this, and this is actually the rice cake, like the candy. And this tells me about the tool about language exchange. Actually, it's not always fair because her partner returned with this picture: a screen, Thai, but no color. In a language exchange, actually someone always have to give more, but actually both parties they will benefit. So our language exchange, or the app, actually is about people and human. That's actually what distinguishes a language exchange and social app. Is behind it is just a human being. So it's not really about, it's about real language. It's not about textbook. It's a very different kind of studying. It's actually not for everyone, because I think a lot of the polyglots here, you've got your friends, you already know the language, you have a lot of community, but the average language learner, they don't have access to this. They don't know where to find people, unlike the polyglots over here. Okay, then I can show a little bit of video, 1 minute and 30 minutes. That would actually show the function of the app a little bit. This is a language exchange mode that we have actually.
What was the last part? What was the last part of the video where you're saying this is?
The last part of the video?
Yes.
You said something, you made a comment about the video.
You mean in the video?
You said something about this is our language exchange or something?
Oh yeah, there's a part about a language exchange mode. There is actually in our app there's a mode where you can, because in a language exchange a lot of times you just chat and sometimes you keep saying in one language and the other party doesn't feel fair because the one with the stronger language skills is like they talk more. So we have a mode where you can actually count the number of characters you type in the app. So let's say you have 1,000 characters, so 500 characters in one language, like in Spanish, and the other 500 in English. So it has a voice. You count the time. So you can say, let's have a language exchange for 10 minutes. So you'll be in French, and then you will be in, let's say, in Chinese. So you go on French. And then after 5 minutes, it will switch. The app will remind you now to switch language. So, I mean, it will just make it fair, so we can keep on studying, and it will just roll over. So that's a special mode that we have. Although it's the experience so far is people find it difficult and they don't understand a lot of times. So we will be changing it. But that's actually what we want to push. Is to, well, you can random chat and talk, but let's set a target and goal. Let's exchange for 20 minutes. And do that. Maybe on the mobile it's 5 minutes, 10 minutes, but that's the original idea of the app, is to make it a language exchange app. So here actually is a good review. Someone very happy of our app, but I think what this user mentioned is you can have the details. It's really the details, the translation feature. You can correct your partner voice recording, the ability to report an inappropriate photo without you don't have to open it. Seeing the user's time zone. A lot of details about when you actually try to use it for language learning, not like the sex part. You actually will find out many small little details to help you with that. So our current situation. We expand and grew a lot, and you can now teach and learn 100 languages, and we have users from almost every country in the world, more than 1 million registered users, and monthly we have about 250,000 of them using the app. Every day is 75,000. So daily active users log in and use, and they send 1.5 million messages a day. Out of all the messages, 10% of them will use translation function, and the majority of them will be like, they got a message in a language they don't understand, they tap and they translate it. and about 20% of our users, they are under 18 actually. And in our app, the people, like users under 18 are in one world. Users above 18 are in another world. There's a firewall in between, basically. So if you have an app, look at it, you cannot find, if you're above 18, you cannot search anyone under 18.
How can you do to trap the people who are above 18 and to declare they are under 18?
Well, we cannot really do that, but we have a report and a mechanism, and they can only change their age one time. So you can do that, but you'll be forever stuck in that world. If that's what you want. And also we only allow one account per device. So you have a device, you can only register one account. So we don't let people like view 100,000, like they create all these kind of accounts. We did this not too long, about a year ago. But in the beginning there were abuse, but then we closed all the gaps we try to close.
Sorry?
This is a map about users making voice over IP call over our app. So you can see actually a lot of activities in Japan, Korea, they're calling Australia, South America, Europe. It just represents they are actually, this is a voice call function they're using. So it's pretty good. There's no video, it's just voice call. So they're talking, communicating, I hope like in the language they're learning. But so we are here actually, we want to actually to get the app more well known among like polyglots, because we have the users worldwide, and we want to cross promote with like a polyglots. If they have a blog, have a video, they want to promote the service, because let's say we have a lot of users from Brazil, we have a lot of users from Russia, we don't have enough in Germany, so we can cross promote each other actually, because we don't have any content. Our users need content or guide on how to learn languages. So it's like you can do an article, video, app video. We actually have an affiliate program recently starting, and we can pay installation through that. And we are also looking for like help in certain countries, like marketing representative, to help. It's a part-time paid job. So like we need help in Italy, Germany, I think UK. And actually, we have full-time position probably coming up in 4 to 6 months' time. So if you know anyone, feel free to contact me. And then for, I don't know whether there are some users here, although the app is more for the average language learner. But if you're an existing user, send a message over to the contact of HelloTalk team over the contact Polyglot Gatherin, and we'll 2 extra language player, 1 year for membership. As gift, we send it over for the attendance of this event. Or you sign up, you can do the same thing. Okay, that's so. You can scan the water bottle, download and install the water bottle to Cloud Core. And one more slide actually. I want to show actually this is our developer. This is when we were a little bit bigger, not the only two. They were sleeping, very, very like a poor environment. This is the living room. They're working, all these kinds of people, they're working over here in China. They were wearing slippers and, actually, this is the second developer. Then I took him over to food massage. He's still with us actually. This is the intern. The third one, the waiting to be fired one, he's still with us actually. So that's my presentation. Thank you very much. And if anyone has questions. Yes?
Thank you very much. If I understood well, it is a free app. So how do you live?
Well, that's the question I've been asking myself.
Yeah.
The first 3 years, we actually have no income for the last 4 years.
So you invested a lot.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's not a lot of investment in the beginning, so it's just it wasn't like this, so it's 2 or 3 people. You work on a year, nothing, you 6 months, once you add 2, 3, 4 people, so it's our own savings. It's mainly my savings from the e-commerce startup that put into this, and we have, so it's just something, I don't know, we don't really consider that much at that point, we just want to build something. It's hard, so you just don't spend a lot of money. We didn't really do any advertising marketing, it's all organic search, word of mouth. Well, I myself, I can live by, no problem, but not longer, with anything. So we have an early stage investment 4 months ago, but that was after the app has been out for like 3 years and 9 months. So now we are funded by venture capital, early stage, and then we have a business model which is you pay for membership. So the transliteration, voice to text is provided like a courtesy free 25 times a day. So our statistic shows that 99% of the users will never hit that figure in a day. So if you hit that, you can pay $1 per month or $10 per year, or you can wait the next day, and then you got 25 times credit. Or you can go out, Google Translate, copy and paste, and come back in. And then we charge for the second language here, so you can learn and teach one language for free. But if you want a second language, you pay $2 a permanent feature. So at the moment, our income doesn't come. But in a social language app like this, it's more about the user. You need to get more users, and hopefully they will turn into something. And I myself feel like there's a business model for language learner, as long as they are language learners. But if you mix it with people who want to date and all that, then you go nowhere. So we are very focused on language learning.
Yeah. How do your members split in the different countries? What are the statistics about the memberships in different areas and countries?
So the countries are here. I have a slide here. I put something in my master's. So we have every country, but this data is for the user monthly active more than 500. So you see the biggest is China, Korea, Japan, US, and then Brazil, Russia, Italy, Turkey, Taiwan, France, Mexico, Spain, Hong Kong, Thailand, all the way. So I think China, Korea, Japan, and US is more than half, and Brazil. And then the rest is the other half.
Do you have a plans to do like a video exchange as well? Because I have noticed that many people would like to have like conversation face to face.
Yes, but technically that is very difficult to do, and it costs a lot of money.
Yeah.
Even our voice call function, we partner with a company. We do certain part. It's very specialized technology. It will cost like 300 people, 400 people to do it, to make it, and the bandwidth cost and all that. So we want to do that, but that was financially and technically not feasible for us to do. Here first.
You were talking about one language pair for free, second we have to pay something.
Yeah.
1, 2 are quite low numbers for people here who are interested in practicing more languages at the same time. How does it scale to up to more than 2 languages?
We have up to 3 now, so we can put
I
in.
was speaking about higher numbers.
Well, we can open it up, but it probably takes a little bit of time. We are trying to accommodate mainly the average and level. And
For voice and video calls, why not use a technology WebRTC which costs nothing at all?
if you actually try to put RTC on a mobile phone, it doesn't really work. Actually, it could work. It could work as a demo, but you have to put a lot of twist and turn and specialized skills into that. So WebRTC is is more for the web. Actually, on the mobile phone with the resources, there's a lot of like caveats and things you need to be solved. I've spoken to a few like video technology, WebRTC, like experts, and that's the information I got, and I knew it's probably true. It's not that simple actually.
You mentioned your vision is that the people meet first through the app and then they meet in the real world. Then let's say this is realized, your app is useless.
Well, I don't feel like it's like because they have to. Language learning is never like a one-time thing, right? So, you keep on learning for several years. So the app is never an intention to replace anything. It's just an intention to complement. You still go to offline class. You still do all these things with like Benny's blog, using different tools, use like Blue, and all these different tools. We are just a tool for you to practice and meet someone. And if you meet someone, your motivation to keep continuing learning the language is higher. Then you go to class, and then you can talk to someone. You can speak. So I think it's not mutually
Sorry,
exclusive.
I think I tried to rephrase because I think I didn't express myself well. So you said first you meet through the app, but then the ultimate goal is that you meet offline. I think most of the people then would switch maybe communication towards an app that is generally used for communication, which is WhatsApp or something.
Yeah.
Or do you think they would stick then to this app they met? That's my point. I mean, it's a risk for your business, that's what I'm saying.
Well, it's not something that we only do something that we can control. So if the users, they really get close to someone as a friend, they contact over WeChat, Line, HelloTalk, it's their freedom. We have just, what we can do is increase the attractiveness and the stability. So Benny wrote a review in his review, said, wow, our Android version is crap, well, the battery consumption, stability, that actually is the reason causing a lot of the users moving to other apps after they got to know this, because our apps are not stable enough yet. So we're working very hard to improve the stability. I mean, eventually, if they got to know someone really close, they don't need to contact over our app, that's fine. But there are enough users that they will try to meet someone or make a friendship out of, like a language partnership out of the app. So it's not something I think we would work with.
Yeah.
Or something we can do.
As well as that, there's a lot of sites that work with connecting people offline, like Couchsurfing and Meetup, and people still go back to those sites. So if you used HelloTalk to meet up with somebody, you would tell your friends, so it ends up kind of building on itself. And I've tested it out in a couple of different countries. When I was in Brisbane, I did a quick search to see if I could practice Chinese, and actually it has a GPS function, so I could see that within a mile of me was somebody I could meet up with in a local cafe and speak Mandarin if I wanted to. So if I use that, then I wouldn't necessarily think, okay, HelloTalk is useless for me, because maybe I'll think, okay, that person is nice, maybe I'll meet up with someone else, or maybe I'm going to another city and I'll meet up with someone that way, and then maybe I'll try, if I'm in the middle of nowhere, then I'll use the actual app itself, the transliteration and so on. So there's a lot of different options with it that way.
And this as an additive too. So I'm American, and actually HelloTalk is pretty popular among a lot of my friends. And I use it for languages like Azerbaijani and Serbian, so obviously I don't use it so much to meet so many people, because there's not many people who speak those languages in America. But one of my friends, he's learning French, and he, I guess, has been talking with a girl on HelloTalk for maybe a year now, the language partners. He went to go back and met up with her in person, and they went out for coffee, and he's back in the States now, but he still uses HelloTalk to communicate with her and practice his French. So, okay.
Good.
I think as also as a founder of a software, I think my dream also is that they go out of the software as fast as possible. I mean, that's when it's successful. We can keep them for 5 years and charge them €1 maybe, but what if we're so successful we can actually learn in a month, and then they don't need no app anymore, or they can use it differently. So I totally share your vision. The problem I have now with, not with HelloTalk per se, but like I contacted a lot of people in Lithuania, old guys of course, and when I'm chatting with them, then I'm out of how are you doing? Like I'm always saying the same thing, and sometimes I would love them to poke me, like you haven't spoken with Claudio for a while, like maybe it's time to say hi, and
Okay. We will add and build more functions for that. It's just a matter of resources. but we do have a plan.
This is also a problem I have, so as soon as you do, I will steal your idea. Right?
Okay, I think the time is up. So thank you.